being able to implement our new programs. We have been working on them for the last year, and the biggest thing was being able to digitize them and be able to continue that entrepreneurial journey that we started on a digital platform throughout. The Ed Foundation has really allowed us to be able to do that, but also the platform then allows us to reach more beneficiaries.
The 2022 Changemakers Innovation Challenge Impact Story is hinged on the support received from our esteemed partners, including Access Bank, IHS Towers, an organization working to advance global communication and ensure seamless connectivity for millions, Lagos Business School, and Veraki.
With the help of Ed Foundation, looking to top 10 for the CIC challenge, and also with their collaborative partnership with Veraki Africa. So we've been able to understand how we would align our vision and mission to meet the work we do. And also in terms of structure in the organization, we've been able to, through their support in terms of capacity from what we've done so far, we've been able to practically align what we do and to tell better story of what we do as well.
I think some of the supports that we've received from the Foundation, apart from the innovation challenge that we run for some of our innovations, also it includes the MPLM program, it's the Lagos Business School, which typically has been a lot of training and then improvement to build capacity of our staffs.
Since its inception, the Changemakers Innovation Challenge has helped dozens of organizations scale up impact using innovative solutions in various African communities. And we are not relenting as we commit to impact the continent one community at a time.
My name is Simon Eli. I'm the Leadership and Partnership Director at Nuru Nigeria. Nuru Nigeria's project is strategically designed to build community resilience through targeted agribusiness intervention. Nuru Nigeria, with funding from Ed Foundation, has over these years been able to make remarkable achievements in the Northeast through its implementation of agricultural entrepreneurship projects for smallholder farmers. Through the funding we have received over these years, we have been able to reach 32,226 smallholder farmers, where about 70% of the total beneficiaries are women. And these farmers have achieved 65% average increase in household income. Ed Foundation has also supported financial inclusion component, where farmers are trained on financial management and access to financial services. Challenges are inevitable. In as much as we're making this great impact in the communities, we also face challenges such as increase in farmer-herder clashes. Another one there is increased cases of kidnapping. Mobile network blackouts is another challenge. Nuru Nigeria as an organization has grown both in impact and in terms of teams' capacity development. Ed Foundation always has a way of building the capacity of their grantees, and we always get invites from Ed Foundation to either join a webinar, listen to an organizational development broadcast on podcasts, and lots of other capacity development programs for nonprofit organizations. I will say the relationship has been a very, very impactful one and of teams' capacity growth and development.
Sunana Aisha Mohammed, a farko suka kama na gida, mu processing din muna jankara da kuma tunkusa. To sai na ɗauko mudu uku na soya ta, na yi muka sa ruwa muka tuka da hannu dai duk na yi da hannu. Na koma kuma na auna mudu hudu dai na ƙara mudu da ɗaya dai akalla dai buhun nan ya ɗauke ni tsawon wata ɗaya. Na ƙarasa shi gaba ya mudu sai ta ƙara kawo mana tallafi injuna. A lokacin mu ba mu san yin da injin ba da hannu ne muka saba ina samun riba sosai. To haka na so na koma buhu ɗaya zai koma a sati ɗaya ma ina kan yi masanni. Riban da na samu riga.
Baba hakimin da an zauna nan karamar hukumar Michigan. Bisa ga abun da kungiyar Nuru ta kawo musamman ma al'ummarmu ta fannin mata. Na farko akwai gida da suke ba mata, suna kuli-kuli, suna masan mai, wadda da ba su da jari amma yanzu bisa samun wannan jari aka ba su, suna samu abun da suke fiye musamman kuli-kuli, suna samun mai masan mai gida nan, suna samun abubuwan da ake tallafawa rayuwarsu. Akwai abubuwan da suke yi kamar adashe, kowa yana zuba kowane sati-sati. Kaga wannan ya taimaka musu a kungiyance, suna da uwa mata, akwai sakatare da kungiya ita ma'aji.
Suna Banda Hanti, ni ina na Agarta community. Da muna noma wake soya in a small quantity, but Allah abun godiya zuwa Nuru Nigeria mu zo mu kafa kungiya wanda ni ne yau shugaba FA leader na Kankala Farmers Association. Throughout years da muke tare da Nuru Nigeria sun koyar da mu yadda za mu yi noma wake soya na zamani, wanda duka na ta bi umarni yadda suka karantar da mu na nome wake soya, wanda da yarda Ubangiji Allah mun samu canji sosai, wanda muna samu amfani. Wannan shekara ma na expanding noma gwana wanda ya kai hectare 2. Da na expanding gwana nan yana creating job opportunities ma waɗanda suna cikin gari. Ina employing mutane su je su taimake ni a cikin noma wanda ina biyan su. Ina iya har yanzu employing mutane lokaci da ana harvesting, sai at the end zan biya su in sake ɗan musu wanda suna jin daɗi, kuma suna je suna amfani da shi, wanda ba su noma wake soya.
Ya kawo mana saukin rayuwa a wajen al'ummar mu, kwarai mun ga ci gaba kwarai a fannin abubuwan da muka kai mana wannan gari.
Ƙungiyar Nuru ta koya mana abubuwa da yawa, ta kama mana kifi mu ci, kuma ta nuna mana yadda za mu kama kifin. Yanzu dai ina mika godiya na air condition wanda take tallafawa Nuru, ta kama mana taimako, ta kama mana cigaba, ta kama mana zaman lafiya a gari.
to be involved with money and we bring it back to the people in our community. You know, this program has opened my eyes to a lot of things. The rapists also, they have known that this thing is not good. They are doing what is wrong under the law. And those victims, they have known that they have to speak up. What is wrong is wrong. In the course of the program, I remember when we started at first, it was a bit of a challenge. The first hurdle was to ensure that we had a sexual assault referral center, and then we had a wonderful relationship. We were welcomed with open arms at the sexual assault referral center in Olabisi and Obanje University Teaching Hospital. The milestones that we've achieved include the fact that we trained 200 birth attendants was one. Two, there have been increased referrals to the sexual assault referral center in Olabisi and Obanje University Teaching Hospital. Over 5,000 persons have been reached by these birth attendants, and that the number of cases that have been reported is over 100.
We are very excited that we've been able to train 3,000 traditional birth attendants. We've also advocated to educate, to sensitize, and also to report cases of GBV in over 20 communities. The successes we've recorded has been amazing.
So I don't want this program to end, but I give kudos to them. They did a lot in our community.
The Nigeria Philanthropy Office, NPO, is a private sector-led coordinating office located in the Office of the Vice President, driving high-level catalytic support for MSMEs in sectors with the power to create jobs and transform lives. Introducing iPhilanthropy, a groundbreaking platform where technology meets philanthropy. Here, visionary donors connect with innovative startups in renewable energy, agriculture, fashion, and sustainable agribusiness. Together, we're not just funding businesses, we're fueling ideas that ignite sustainable growth and change. Your support through iPhilanthropy is more than a donation. It's an investment in Nigeria's future, creating opportunities, empowering communities, and driving economic progress. Join us today on IFA, part of a movement that's shaping the future of impact investing and sustainable development in Nigeria. Visit www.nigeriaphilanthropyoffice.org.
We have records of different projects, change, we call it change projects that the students initiate across different schools. We have some schools that, as you mentioned, they did road bombs, some other schools did this zebra crossing, some other schools designed and signpost labeling for their schools.
We can't achieve as much success without the mentors who have been trained to work directly, with the students.
Yeah.
I'm actually mentoring a group of 30 students at Government Technical College, Main Avenue, Calabar. It's been an amazing journey, having to come here every Wednesday to mentor these young students that we are grooming and empowering them to become young leaders in the future. This program as a mentor has been so helpful to me also, because most of the topics that are inside the manual are things, of course, before now I'm not aware of. But through this program, I've been able to learn also as a mentor.
My experience as a mentor has been surreal.
Hello,
I have never imagined that I was going to be this valuable.
Good morning,
it's like
everyone.
I've been reliving my childhood.
Thank you so much
in the
for
children.
being
I've
here with
learned
us today.
quite a lot.
If you're outside having tea, we're going to start shortly. So please give us 5 minutes. We'll be starting soon. We're just waiting for a few people to come. We're here and we're about to start. Thank you so much. I'd also like to welcome those of us who are online. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be starting shortly. Hello once again. Anyone who's in here and is interested in having breakfast or tea, coffee, you can step outside and have something nice.
We have records of different projects, change, we call it change project that students initiate across different.
Good morning. My name is Isoke Arede. I'm a media personality, a performing artist, and today I will be serving as your compare beyond compare. It is with great honor that I welcome you to the 8th edition of the Breakfast Dialogue, organized by the Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation, right here in the vibrant city of Lagos, Nigeria. So you see, in today's generation, the word breakfast is often used to convey heartbreak. I'm sure some of you have heard the song that goes, last, now everybody go chop breakfast. However, today we're here to redefine that notion. This breakfast dialogue is themed collaborative leadership, bridging sectors for sustainable development in Africa. So, as we talk about coming together as leaders to bridge sectors and build a sustainable future for Africa, let's feast, but not on heartbreak, on ideas that will shape the future and possibly eradicate heartbreaking situations in our continent. This year, we are embracing a hybrid format, allowing for both in-person interactions and virtual participation. This event is also being live streamed on our YouTube channel, just to make sure that no one misses out on these important conversations. Now, for those who may not be so familiar, let me introduce you to the Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation. ACT is an inspiring powerhouse making waves across Africa. This award-winning organization is on a mission to tackle the continent's development challenges by providing essential funding, empowering local talents through capacity building, and implementing strategic projects. Now, ACT is aware that great feats cannot always be achieved alone. So they collaborate with local nonprofits and social enterprises to ignite sustainable developments. With an abbreviated name like ACT, you can clearly see that they don't just think, they act. They act by bringing the action. They act together to change lives and create a brighter future for all of us. And by the grace of God, ACT is here today celebrating 7 years of impactful social initiatives. So please, let's give a round of applause to the incredible team at ACT Foundation for making today's event possible. Okay, so before we kick off the event, I'd like to serve you a little appetizer, to whet your palate of understanding. It's a little game I like to call Creative Collabos. Okay, so we're going to do this with our virtual participants and our physical participants. We've already told the people online that we'd like them to imagine the most unlikely partnership between two unrelated sectors. For instance, imagine if fish farmers collaborated with software developers, or imagine if architects collaborated with music producers, okay? So the most unlikely and absurd partnerships will be selected for discussion. Now, the in-person participants will be tasked to creatively figure out how exactly this unlikely partnership could possibly be beneficial in making a societal change. It doesn't have to be realistic. The more imaginative, the better. And of course, if I'm convinced by your idea, we might just have a really nice prize for you. And I think it's definitely something you'd like. So I'm going to wait a moment so that I can get our unlikely partnership so that I can share it with you. No, it's for the online participants. Yes. No, not yet. I'm coming to you very soon. All right. So I just got a message that it might be a little difficult to get the messages from our online participants. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it to us in-house. I would like to have an unlikely partnership, and then I would like to ask a volunteer to tell us how exactly these two unrelated sectors can collaborate. Is that fine? All right. So who would like to just imagine the most unlikely partnership out of this world? Okay, could we please have microphones given? Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Association. That's not an unlikely partnership. But anyways, it's all good. I'm actually here because I am driving an unlikely partnership, which is empowering private sector via internally displaced people. We have a focus particularly on energy and tech, because even though there's a crisis there, in Africa in particular, there are about 80 million refugees and internally displaced people. It's the same number of people, same number of manufacturing employees in China, and they bring in about $3.2 trillion. So I am here. I've already identified some people in the room that I would like to speak to, but we are open to unlikely partnerships that can drive forward Nigeria's economy. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for introducing yourself, sir.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Olaolu Akogun from Junior Achievement Nigeria. So mine is not going to be as deep as is. So mine is just going to be simple. A pilot and an auto mechanic.
A pilot and an auto mechanic. All right. So who would like to try and win our first prize? How can a pilot collaborate with an auto mechanic? Okay.
Tap ChatGPT. And it says, between a fast food chain like McDonald's, and a luxury fashion brand like Chanel. So how is that going to work? Because between fast, accessible, low cost, pairing it with it seems widely mismatched. The other one was between NASA and a soft drink company like Coca-Cola. So let's see.
Okay, so which one? Because we need one.
Which one should we take?
NASA and Coke.
NASA and Coke. NASA and Coke.
NASA and Coke. All right. So pilot and auto mechanic. Who would like to try on that one? If you don't pick, I will pick myself. All right. I would actually love to hear from you, sir, because you mentioned that you are a likely partnership with Ghana and Yoruba. Yes. So would you like to please tell us any possible way a pilot and an auto mechanic could partner to create something amazing.
I had to get my car fixed, and it was a Honda something, and the guy who ended up fixing it was an auto mechanic who used to service airplanes, so it's not as unlikely. So, yeah, pardon? No, but he this is a real thing that happened, so it is possible. I can't solve all your problems, so this is what I can do for now. Maybe I'll check OSA ChatGPT and get back to you.
All right, thank you for attempting. Yes, you'd like to, okay, please, could we have a microphone here?
I think that there's an underlying binding constraint between a pilot and an auto mechanic, and that is their waste, their e-waste. So they can collaborate in looking for ways to responsibly dispose under the circular economy principle. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was amazing. All right, so we're going to move on. We didn't get to hear anything from NASA and Coke, but I believe that if Coca-Cola can work as a cleaning agent, perhaps NASA could send out Coke to space and reduce waste in our planet. So that's just an idea coming from me. So now you get to slightly understand a little bit of what ACT does. Like I mentioned earlier, this year's theme is collaborative leadership, bridging sectors together for sustainable development in Africa. So today is all about creating a space for meaningful conversations and forging partnerships that can drive real change across the continent. Our focus is on strengthening cross-sector collaboration and leadership skills vital for Africa's sustainable future. So get ready to connect with passionate professionals, discover innovative practices to leadership, and be inspired by our incredible lineup of speakers. Now, it's my great honor to introduce and celebrate our distinguished guests. These are leaders who continue to shape impactful change as board members of the ACT Foundation. First, we have the Managing Director of Yinka Folawiyo Group and the Chairman of the ACT Foundation Board. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for Mr. Tunde Folawiyo. Next, we have the visionary founder and managing director of JNC International Limited. A round of applause for Mrs. Claire Omasheye. Thank you. Joining us as well is a senior advocate of Nigeria and partner at Banwo and Igodalo. Please welcome Mrs. Abimbola Akeredolu. And finally, the Chief Communications Officer at Access Holdings, Mr. Amechi Okobi. Please give him a round of applause. We'd also like to give a special shout out to the amazing team from our major supporter, Access Bank PLC. Your continued support and valued presence here today mean the world to us. We deeply appreciate all that you do to help us make this vision a reality. Now we are especially thrilled to welcome our keynote speaker, the Co-Chief Executive Officer at Palladium, all the way from Washington, D.C., USA, Mr. Ricardo Michel. Thank you for being here with us today. Your presence and insights are truly valued, and we're excited to hear from you. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you. A warm welcome goes out to all our incredible speakers joining us for the panel discussions and masterclass sessions later today. We're eager to hear your expert insights, and your contributions are deeply appreciated. At the end of the conference, we will offer 2 enlightening masterclass sessions. Please scan the QR code to access the program brochure for detailed information on these sessions, including schedules, facilitators, topics, and locations. And for our online guests, please join any of the masterclass sessions from your side screen. Okay, so now I would like to take a moment to recognize our distinguished host for the 2024 ACT Foundation Breakfast Dialogue. A visionary who has made incredible strides in advancing social impact across Africa over the past 7 years. A leader who sits on the board of several organizations dedicated to growth and remarkable progress. A superwoman who said that without the collaboration of the walls, roof, and foundation, a house cannot stand. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to the CEO and founder of ACT Foundation, the beautiful, the legendary Miss Osai Alile. All right. A warm welcome to all our guests here at the Kairos Hub and to those joining us virtually. We truly appreciate your presence here at the 8th edition of the ACT Foundation's Breakfast Dialogue. Today promises to be a day filled with valuable insights, and we are excited to inspire a renewed commitment to shaping a sustainable future for Africa together. As you may know, today is World Sight Day, and to commemorate this, our partner Vision Spring is on ground to provide free eye screening services to you. Please take advantage of this service and please give them a round of applause. Okay. I would also love to let you know that exhibition booths are set up and ready for you to explore from 11:30 a.m. So feel free to visit them at various points throughout the conference. It's a great opportunity to connect with exhibitors, discover new innovations, and gather valuable resources. So please don't miss out. Right about now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived to officially kick off the 8th edition of ACT Foundation's Breakfast Dialogue. To set the stage for our conference, it is my honor to invite the ACT Foundation Board Chairman, Mr. Tunde Folawiyo, to deliver the welcome address. He will be represented by Mr. Amechi Okobi. So please welcome him up here with a round of applause.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our distinguished speakers and panelists, government representatives, our vulnerable partners in the private and social sectors, our friends in the press, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to welcome you all today to ACT Foundation's 8th Breakfast Dialogue 2024. Today, we converge to explore the transformative potential of collaborative leadership in Africa, forging pathways to sustainable development. I extend heartfelt gratitude to our loyal participants who have joined us for the past 7 years, and a warm welcome to those joining us for the first time. Your presence here is a testament to our shared commitment to creating a better future for Africa. Your consistent support inspires us to continue driving meaningful change. Since our inception in 2017, ACT Foundation has remained resolute in its pursuit of sustainable development across Africa. Our 4 pillars, health, environment, entrepreneurship, and leadership, serve as the bedrock of our initiatives. Through strategic partnerships with over 100 organizations and targeted interventions, we have reached over 3 million individuals across 1,200 communities in 12 African countries, demonstrating our relentless dedication to the continent's growth. As we look to the future, our aim is to build a movement of collaborative leaders, uniting stakeholders from all sectors to work together to tackle Africa's most pressing challenges. By promoting collaborative leadership, we seek to stimulate revolutionary solutions shared accountability for Africa's sustainable growth and development. Before I proceed, however, this day wouldn't be possible without the late Dr. Herbert Wigwe. And I'd like us to take a moment of silence to really just acknowledge him. So 1 minute, please. May his soul and the soul of the faithful departed rest in perfect peace. Herbert did incredible things to get ACT Foundation started and to get it driven the way it's been driven. We will make him proud, and his legacy will live on. Today, we're joined by renowned experts from diverse sectors and backgrounds, sharing their expertise and insights on collaborative leadership. Through their perspectives, we will uncover forward-thinking approaches for advancing sustainable development, explore opportunities for cross-border collaboration. I thank you today sincerely to our partners whose support has been instrumental in making this event a reality. Your dedication in advancing our shared vision is highly recognized. I wish you all a productive and inspiring dialogue and look forward to the impactful discussions that will shape our future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for that powerful and impactful opening speech. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our very special keynote speaker. With over 20 years of international finance and leadership experience in both the private and public sectors, he has been instrumental in initiating globally relevant initiatives. He previously served as Managing Director of FHI Partners, Executive Vice President of AMEX International, and was a presidential appointee at USAID during the Obama administration. Today, he will deliver a keynote address focused on our theme, collaborative leadership, building sectors for sustainable development in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to the Co-Chief Executive Officer of the Palladium Group, Mr. Ricardo Michel.
Thank you, Madam Isoke, for that kind introduction. So good morning, everyone, those of you in person and those online. As they say, all protocols observed. I first want to thank Osai Alile and the Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation for inviting me to address you today on this important topic of collaborative leadership. Although, as it was stated, I'm based in Washington, D.C., I'm joining you today from Guatemala City, Guatemala, where I have to admit it is 3:30 in the morning. However, that shows you how important I think this topic is. So when Osai asked me to elaborate a bit on that, I said, no matter where I am in the world, I'm committed to joining you. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity. It is an honor to come before all of you as influential leaders who are driving change across the African continent. So I'd like to share my thoughts on what I think is a critical concept, collaborative or collective leadership. This is a leadership model that I believe holds the key to addressing the challenges we face and unlocking the tremendous potential that lies within all of our communities. When we hear of leadership, it's often spoken about from an individual or solitary perspective. The approach of collaborative leadership is something that I believe is not a nice to do, but an absolute must if we are to tackle the most complex challenges or drive transformative change. I want to start by sharing my own understanding of collaborative leadership, a definition shaped by my years of experience across the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Collective leadership, to me, is a group of individuals, each with unique perspectives, who come together around a shared goal. Collective leadership recognizes that lasting success is not possible without diverse perspectives and contributions. What unites us today in this space and what drives collective leadership is not just any shared goal. It is a commitment to making an impact. So in my career, whether working in partnership with governments, corporations, or grassroots organizations, one truth has become clear. True impact requires diverse perspectives. Without diversity in thought and approach, the solutions we create will not be robust, nor will they be sustainable. There are three foundational principles of collaborative leadership that I'd like to focus on today: perspective, partnership, and innovation. First, perspective. Each of us comes to a challenge from, quote, where we sit, our own viewpoint, informed by our experiences, environment, and the roles we've played. When we think of individual leadership and perspective, we tend to think of a leader either being out front, like a general leading the troops, or possibly leading from behind, a shepherd herding the sheep. Each posture brings a different perspective. I argue, however, when we tackle a problem alone, our perspective is limited. When we bring together multiple perspectives, we gain a fuller understanding of the issue at hand. So, in a diverse room like this, the breadth of knowledge and experience is powerful. Whether the issue is poverty alleviation, healthcare access, or financial inclusion, our ability to see the entire problem and not just parts of it will enable us to create solutions that address the complexity of the challenges that we face. When I think of our work at Palladium, a global development organization, it is imperative in our approach that we not only research, consult, but most importantly, bring voice to the people and communities and countries where we serve. An example close to home is our Nigeria Scale program, where we've partnered with over 300 civil societies over the past 5 years with a goal to strengthen their financial and management capacity, as well as their capacity for collaborative advocacy. By fostering these partnerships, we've not only strengthened institutions, but also amplified the voices of those often marginalized. The outcomes we've achieved over the past 5 years are a result of partnership. And without those partnerships, the impact would have been far less significant. Now, as you have maybe heard from my biography, I started my career in the private sector as a CPA and an investment banker on Wall Street. I then worked in the public sector at a number of agencies, and as you've heard, at some of the highest levels as a political appointee in the Obama administration. But I've also served in the nonprofit sector for a large international NGO, and am now leading Palladium, a global international development firm seeking to make positive impact in the lives of millions around the world. Throughout this journey, I've been blessed with many opportunities to learn about fostering partnerships. However, it's not simply the formal education or the work experiences that teaches us some of the most important lessons in my life. Many pearls come from the wisdoms of the ages, as it often pays to look back to some basic principles passed down by previous generations that can actually help us propel forward. Now, what you won't necessarily know from my bio was that I was born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and that my family immigrated to the US when I was 5. Growing up in a Haitian household, I heard many proverbs from my parents. most of which were most likely prompted by my doing something that I wasn't supposed to be doing. And at the time, I had very little understanding of or appreciation for the richness of the knowledge that was being passed down. But over time, much like a coarse grain of sand planted in an oyster, which ultimately becomes a smooth round pearl, we begin to see the beauty and richness of the wisdom that was planted inside our psyche at young ages. One of these gems that has underpinned my approach throughout my professional experience comes from the Haitian proverb, "Me en pile paille chai palu," which translates to, "With many hands, the load is not heavy." So through the more partnerships, the more perspectives, and the more hands we have to lift that burden, this leads me to focus on the second principle of partnership. Partnership, much like perspective, is essential to collaborative leadership, but it must be intentional. The most effective partnerships are those built on mutual understanding, shared goals, and clear roles. At Palladium, partnership is the cornerstone of our approach to solving complex global challenges. An example of this can be found in our work with the Kenya Investment Mechanism Program, where we took $30 million in USAID funding and leveraged it to mobilize over $650 million and create a more thriving, interconnected financial ecosystem. This success wasn't just about raising capital. It was about bringing together banks, investors, business advisory services, each playing a crucial role. Now, our role was not to come in and pick a few winners or just make loans. By working in partnership across the entire financial spectrum and facilitating interventions with key stakeholders across the key sectors, now more smallholder farmers, micro, small, and medium enterprises are receiving private finance and investment to meet their working capital needs. By looking at the entire ecosystem and aligning stakeholders towards a common goal, we reduced risk, unlocked opportunities, and most importantly, made the solution sustainable. Now let's quickly turn to innovation, the third principle. Innovation does not occur in isolation. It thrives when diverse perspectives come together and when leaders, like all of you, are willing to listen, adapt, and learn from others. Even when we think we have the answer, the collective wisdom of the group often leads to better, more creative solutions. I firmly believe that innovation occurs when you have diverse perspectives focused on a singular issue. So as leaders, our role is not always to dictate the path forward, but to facilitate a space where innovation can emerge. We must embrace the idea that leadership sometimes means following, listening to others, incorporating their ideas, and allowing those ideas to evolve into something greater. This collaborative spirit is what will allow us to navigate the complex challenges of our time. Now, throughout Africa, the challenges are many, but so too are the opportunities. Across Nigeria and the broader continent, we are faced with issues that are interconnected and multifaceted. Whether we are addressing economic development, healthcare, education, climate, or governance, the need for collective action is greater than ever. As leaders, we must recognize that no single organization or sector can solve these challenges alone. We need to embrace collective leadership, to unite diverse actors around shared goals, and to work together to achieve lasting impact. I'd like to leave you with another pearl of wisdom from an African proverb that I think captures this sentiment well. If you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. I'm sure you're very familiar with this. So in a world where we're often pushed to move quickly, it can be tempting to go it alone. But the problems we face today, whether in Nigeria or across the continent, require long-term solutions. And to get there, we need to move together, collectively, collaboratively. We need to run far, not just fast. As you move through today's discussions, I urge each of you to think about how you can embrace the principles of perspective, partnership, and innovation in your own work. How can we as leaders collaborate more effectively? How can we ensure that we are truly listening to and learning from those around us. My challenge to you is this: let today be the start of a journey where we don't just talk about collective leadership, but where we practice it. A journey where we come together with our unique perspectives and take collective action to address the challenges facing not just Nigeria, but the continent as a whole. So, as a pathological collaborator, as I refer to myself, I thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you today. I wish you the best and that you enjoy the upcoming panel discussions. And I look forward to the progress and the innovations that will come from your time together today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ricardo Michelle. Those were amazing nuggets of wisdom on the principles of partnership that are so imperative to being a leader. Thank you so much. All right, so welcome back to the 8th Breakfast Dialogue. At ACT Foundation, we are dedicated to empowering nonprofits and social enterprises across Africa. To support this mission, we regularly organize training sessions led by experienced professionals in key areas like project management, monitoring and evaluation, and fundraising. If you'd like updates on our upcoming training programs, then be sure to stay connected with us on social media. After such an inspiring keynote address, let's feast on another insightful conversation. Our next session is a fireside chat with another remarkable lady. Our next guest is an internationally recognized gender lens impact investor, a philanthropy advisor, and social entrepreneur. She has pioneered and led several organizations and initiatives focused on philanthropy, impact investing, and women's economic empowerment, earning global recognition for her remarkable contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the chairperson of the Nigeria Office for Philanthropy and Impact Investing, Ms. Thelma Ekiyo Sholanke. And to lead this conversation, please join me in welcoming the sensational CEO of Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation, Ms. Osai Alile.
Thank you so much. Thelma says, they didn't tell me sensational. So Thelma, I say it's sensational, Thelma. Oh God. That's the beauty of working with and knowing people for so many years, where you're comfortable, you can have your own conversations. And thank you so much to, of course, to Ricardo for the first, when Ricardo said, with many hands, the load is not heavy. I know it's something that you have spoken about for so many years. I mean, all the different times that you have done all your different things. I know it's a conversation I've heard from you many times. And of course, we're not calling it this fanciful word, but I remember you kept on saying that we need to do things together. We need to get involved. Everybody, not one person can do this on their own. And so I'm coming to ask you, Thelma, today, can you just give us an overview of collaborative leadership from your own point of view and how the landscape in Africa is based on what the work that you at NPO is doing? Thank you.
Thanks very much. Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Osai, and congrats, 7 years, great work. For me, I'm always really excited to be in these spaces, talking about philanthropy and collaborating, because obviously being in this space for almost 26 years, I've seen it evolve. Across Africa, what has happened is there's been kind of like a potpourri of philanthropic initiatives where you look at, most of it really started by international organizations, and then gradually you started getting local indigenous philanthropy coming up. And then it started with high net worth individuals. Then gradually it started with coming into the corporate sphere. where, you know, a lot of people were doing corporate social responsibility, but not really corporate philanthropy. And then now you can see a lot of some people, some organizations taking up real corporate philanthropy. And then there's now the growth of local community philanthropy. It's really been interesting to watch. And so the supply side and the demand side of philanthropy has had different types of growth. So you've had the nonprofit sector, which is the demand side of philanthropy, the supply side of philanthropy, venture philanthropy, corporate philanthropy, community philanthropy, and they're gradually working together. But the third part that has always been left out is the policy side. The policy side of philanthropy, which is integral. So if you talk about philanthropy in the US now, the first thing anyone will ask you is, are you a 501c3 organization? Because there is a clear legal categorization of what that is, what it should be, what it should do. We don't have anything like that in South Africa. So if you bring it to Nigeria, we certainly, at the moment, philanthropic organizations are mostly put into the bucket of nonprofits or put into the bucket of bilateral and multilateral organizations, all of which cannot help grow the sector. And so when you talk about collaboration, can't leave the biggest, most important part out, which is the policy framework, which helps us create the infrastructure for philanthropy, helps to incentivize philanthropy. At the moment, most people went into philanthropy altruistically. They wanted to do good. But we all know philanthropy is a business. Yes. And so you don't create and incentivize, altruism can only take you for so long. And so when we talk about collaboration, I'm very keen for us to make sure we add the policy environment. And particularly organizations that have proven themselves like ACT need to be involved in that policy conversation. Because what will happen is all this great work you've done, after some time, it will fade. Because where there's no infrastructure, it will fall through the cracks. Yes.
So that's really talking sustainability in the long term. Yes. And it's something that is important for every one of us to be. And that's where the conversation comes in when we're talking about leadership and collaborative leadership. Because when the public, the private, and the social sector come together and make these policies, then it's beneficial to everyone and brings some value. So within NPO, can you just highlight some projects that you've done in the last few? I know it's just a year.
It's not even a year.
It's not, oh gosh.
Yes, it seems like, I know.
Wow. But I know that you've done quite a bit of work. If you can highlight some things that can be beneficial to the audience so they can see, okay, what else can we, how can we get involved and what can we do different?
Thank you. That's a really important question. So just so that we have understanding, common denominator, NPO was established by the Vice President. What the office has been doing has been building these relationships. And my own philosophy was, before you go out internationally to ask anybody for money to support, Nigerians have to do it themselves. Because having been in the space for a really long time, I'm often wanted to kill that. And so for the last week, it was inaugurated in January. I really started working in March. So for the last, what would you call it, like 7-8 months, I've been building partnerships, signing MOUs with local organizations. All the resources that the office has raised at the moment has all been Nigerian money. I think we deserve a round of applause. And because of that, that has given me credibility to go internationally and have conversations, because I'm able to say, ACT is my partner. And thank you so much that you've come on board. Able to call organizations that we're working with. And that shows people that, one, we're serious, but two, we are investing in what we think is important for our country. The second thing that we've been looking at is the potential of the Nigerian diaspora. Nigerians give $20 billion every year in remittances. Now that proves one principle Nigerians want to give, but they want the accountability. They want transparency. They want to know that the money will go for what it's supposed to go for. And so we've been developing that. And I'm pleased to give as little as $2 to any project that they want to support in the country.
That's amazing. Can we just clap for that, please? Because, you know, sometimes, I know as Nigerians, we have that Nigerian thing in our mind when we just hear government. And we had a conversation also with, I think she's also in the audience, Titi Oshodi of Lagos State. And just having some conversations opens up for us to know that there's so much going on. And we have to just find out what is important. Who is doing things, who are people doing things efficiently and effectively, and see how we can all come together to manage that and then bring value to everyone and everybody concerned. So, I mean, we're shutting this down now. We're going to move on to other things, but I know that we're signing our own MOU today. We're very excited about that. Not only because we feel that this is important, but because we know that it will help us to go further than we've been going over the last few years. So can you just tell us what your expectations are with working with organizations like Aspire Coordination Trust Foundation and all the other ones that you've worked on?
So I think it provides a platform for our comparative advantages. Let me just say something. You said something really important, and I need to address that. Yes, Nigerians are skeptical about government. Full disclosure, I was skeptical about government and still am in some respects. I don't work for government. I chair private sector-led initiative for government. But guess what? Every meeting I've been on, there are foreigners there who are eager to work with government. So every time we as Nigerians are not engaging, I think we're cutting ourselves short. And this is something that I've realized as well by not being involved. So I'm really happy that you can also be another voice in those rooms because you have done the work. I don't have to prove your case. Secondly, I'm really pleased that we can co-curate, co-convene. The higher level, and we're able to co-convene and bring decision makers to the table. That's how you build a sector. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very
so much, Thelma. Thank you. And thank you that you're saying this in front of my board members. My board members are here. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Thelma.
Thank you so much for that insightful session. A lot of food for thought. Thank you so much to the phenomenal Miss Thelma Eki-Osholanke and the sensational Miss Osai Alile. All right. So in 2022, our dedication to fostering a robust nonprofit sector inspired the creation of a 4-part book series titled The Nonprofit Guidebooks. You can purchase a copy on Amazon or Seller, and we believe it will be a valuable resource for your success. Also, check our website for our published research reports. We are now about to dive into the highly anticipated and insightful panel discussion on collaboration for impactful outcomes. This conversation will highlight essential strategies, challenges, and opportunities for fostering collaboration across sectors to drive sustainable development in Africa. But first, it is my pleasure to introduce our moderator for this session, a visionary leader dedicated to driving climate innovation and sustainable growth in Nigeria. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Bankole Oloruntoba, CEO of the Nigeria Climate Innovation Center, who will be facilitating the conversation. Now, let's warmly welcome our esteemed panelists. Ms. Susan Davis, the Equitable Philanthropy Advisor. She'll be joining us online. Ms. Aileen Var,
the Director of Strategy and Business Development at PIND Foundation. She'll be joining us here in person. And Mr. Vincent Otieno Odiambo. He'll be joining us online. He's the Regional Director for Ashoka East Africa. As we go through this session for our online participants, please feel free to send in your questions using the chat rooms. And for those of you joining us in person, you can pass your questions to the ushers and we'll address them at the end of the discussion. So without further ado, I'll now hand over the microphone to our esteemed moderator, Mr. Bankole Olorontoba, to get this conversation started. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our compare. Thank you very much. I think you forgot to welcome Aline. Aline, please join us on stage. Thank you very much. Aline Vare is from PIND, Director of Strategy and Business Development, PIND, Partnership Initiative in the Niger Delta Foundation. A round of applause for that, for Aline again.
Thank you.
And then we have online, we have Susan, I believe. Can we do a quick mic check? Susan, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello? Can Susan hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Hi, Susan.
Oh gosh, I'm huge.
You're mute or something. Can you?
Can you hear me?
Okay, your audio is, while we're trying to fix it. Vincent, is that you?
Yeah, that's
How
me.
about
All right,
now?
Vincent, you here?
Yeah.
All right, Vincent, you here? Okay, great. Vincent is here, Susan is here. Susan is here. Can I hear your voices, please? Can I hear your voices, please?
I can try again. Can you hear me? Hello, everyone.
Good morning, Nigeria. Tell me if you can hear me.
I can hear Vincent.
Catch up. My name is Bankole Olorontoba. I lead the team at the Nigeria Climate Innovation Center. And all we want to do is to ensure that there's a sustainable and a viable green economy in this country. This morning, we'll be discussing around collaborations. And collaborations, as you've all heard, is not something new to all of us. In fact, one of the partnership, the last one, and that alone is a sustainable strategy that has enabled a lot of African organizations still be alive, in the impact business today. But again, collaboration is a very difficult thing for many people. There are a lot of stories around, good collaboration and not so good collaboration. Now, what makes a good collaboration? How do we avoid a not so good collaboration? In this conversation, we're going to be focusing a lot around solutions and as much as new ideas and new models that we can use to get the best out of all the multiple types of collaborations that we might need, financial and non-financial. Hello, John. It's nice to see you. I think I'll start first with Aline. Aline is here, and then we can piggyback again on our friends virtually. Aline, hi.
Hello.
Great. It's good to see you. You look amazing too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So collaborations, what's your experience?
Well, PIND Foundation is actually a nonprofit organization that is private sector funded. And we've, for the past 15 years, have been driving economic development and peace building in the United States and the Niger Delta. And our mandate is through collaborations and partnerships, hence the partnership initiative for the Niger Delta. And so partnering with other foundations, other philanthropies, private sector organizations, government, and ensuring that we have policy as a driven part of our actual mandate is something that we've been doing as really a non-negotiable when you're looking at economic development in a sustainable way. So from that perspective, and even moving up and being able to scale, moving forward, looking at innovative ways to scale the work that's been done in the Delta, we remain in collaborative works, especially as we're trying to now looking at sustainable ways to actually provide access to lending to the SMEs that we've been working with. So it's part of the core that we've been working with for the past 15 years.
All right, thank you so much, Aline. Well, I'm going to come back to you to help us understand how collaboration has also, supported all the multiple innovative ways that you're trying to scale, poverty reduction and the multiple projects that you've done. But before we get to that, I will call on Vincent. Vincent is the East Africa Regional Director for Ashoka. And Ashoka, as we all know, is one of the leading global voices and impact players when it comes to social entrepreneurship. So, Vincent, can you help us align the conversation around the work of Ashoka and how that has impacted all the multiple collaborative efforts that you've had?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you can hear me. I'm not sure you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, when we're talking about collaboration, co-creation, collaborative leadership, I think this is something that has always been going on one way or the other. But the fundamental thing here is to look at the challenges that we are facing across the world and, what has already been shared in terms of not one entity or not one person can go about trying to find a solution for this. And so what we are seeing is that when it comes to collaboration or even collaborative leadership, it needs a certain way of thinking. It needs a shift of mindset. It needs a certain level of inventiveness. It needs a certain level of innovativeness. And this is something that we see a lot from among social entrepreneurs. And this is either because social entrepreneurs, operate within the communities where some of these challenges that we are trying to address occur, or there are people who have had lived experience around these challenges. So it either comes naturally for them to know that for me to really have a transformative solution, it has to be a systemic solution. For me to get to a system level solution, it has to take so many other different players. And for me to be able to bring these other players on board, then I have to be collaborative. I have to exercise and demonstrate collaborative leadership. And that is the only way then that, we see a lot of inventiveness, innovation from amongst the Ashoka Fellows across the world and across the continent. In fact, there are so many brilliant examples of Ashoka Fellows who have moved from just thinking, this is my solution and I need to work it within this sector. And they're thinking, how do I work with government? How do I work with the NGOs and INGOs? How do I really get, funders to understand that collaboration is the way to go so that they support more of collaborative ideas? How do I work with, a federal government, for instance? How do I work with the national government? So I'd say this has really been impactful. I mean, from looking at the work that the Ashoka Fellows are doing across the continent, in the sense that we are seeing more system level solutions coming through. And also we are seeing acceleration of impact. And also the one that I really enjoy just seeing how impact is being transferred. I mean, we have a fellow in Nigeria who's working with a group of fellows here in Kenya. So just the ability of transferring impact, accelerating impact, and really staying on the mission and thinking about this solution at the system level.
Okay, thank you so much, Vincent. That's quite a very elaborative linkage between your work and how that has impacted your collaborative efforts. And then we go to you, Susan. Susan, your profile says Equitable Philanthropy Advisor. Can you explain that concept and how do we see the role of collaboration in it?
Sure. Hi, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you especially to the ACT Foundation for inviting me today. equitable philanthropy can take many forms. Many of you have probably heard about trust-based philanthropy, which is believing in the leader of the organization, that they have the passion, skills, and knowledge to solve the problem the way they believe is best, and don't need the funder to tell them how to do that. There are other movements in the US and Europe towards this idea of localization, which is finally recognizing that people who are closer to the communities they serve are more likely to have better solutions. There is an equitable giving toolkit I can put in the chat later, but it's got a lot of examples of how philanthropy is working in better and more effective ways towards impact. Some examples are funders who can encourage collaboration instead of the nonprofit hunger games of fighting for scarce resources. There's a great example of the Hilton Foundation, who funded several partners in Ethiopia, and they encouraged them to get together on a quarterly basis. And each of these partners was working with a different approach in different areas. And I happened to do a collective impact evaluation just to see what was going on. And it was fascinating. Just by getting together quarterly, they would see each other's work, but more importantly, they would have coffee together. They would have meetings in the hallways. They would ride in the car on the way to the site visits. And we found that they were applying things they had learned from each other in their own work. So there's really interesting ways that funders can pay for, support, encourage collaboration. That takes extra time. If you're a nonprofit, it takes more time to talk to somebody else and find out what they're doing. So I would encourage any funder to think about that piece, is build it into the project performance criteria, build it into people's performance evaluations to collaborate, make it part of your job, and give time and space for that.
All right, thank you so much. A round of applause for Susan, please. That's quite another understanding. So within this first round, some of the thoughts that's come up in the last of our conversation shows that collaboration also helps to build knowledge. It helps to improve experience. One of the things that we also found from PIN, which Aline will help us explain a little bit further, is how collaboration has been a very instrumental strategy to scaling impact. And then around equitable philanthropy, we see that funders should also be interested in the healthiness of the fundee or the grantee that they're dealing with, not expecting them to be totally perfect, but also to find collaborative means of making sure that growth happens. And so in this light, Aline, let me ask you, you've had your fair share of experiences around collaborations, right? What sort of collaborative model do you think should be, if you think from both the funder and the fundee side, and if I say you pick the fundee, right? What sort of collaborative mindset should I have to enable me tie and also maintain strong partnerships?
Well, from the fundee perspective, I think that encourage, even from the funder, this is across sectors, right? And from both ends of spectrum, being innovative and looking at how beyond the funding, beyond the charitable grant, how can you be innovative in actually finding a way to sustain access to funding to be able to create greater impact. So those who are in the impact investment space, in the blended finance space, we know that grants are not forever. They do not sustain any impact that's been in progress or programs that we're working with. So when it comes to collaboration, the collaboration of monies, of grants and market rates, investments, concessional investments, different levels of actual funding to scale programs, to sustain programs, to actually inject health into the actual economic market in the communities that we work with is important. So beyond collaborating between entities and between different bodies and industries, collaborating financially with different instruments and different levels of funding is vital, and I think is the non-negotiable next step for sustainable development. So right now we're in the process of actually, as a philanthropy, structuring a special purpose vehicle for the SMEs, like I said, that we're working with. And that's taken working with private sector, investment advisories, other philanthropies, associations, government, in ways that we could have never imagined as philanthropies. And most philanthropies, when you start this, it's a foreign language. So it's an uphill battle, but it takes collaboration and innovation to really see what that long-term impact is. So, yeah.
What do you think makes your job hard?
The industries that are stuck in the old ways, right? We have a tendency in whatever industry we're in, may it be the fast food or Chanel or, philanthropy, government, private sector, we're stuck in our ways. The biggest mistake we can make is apply yesterday's solutions to today's problems. And when you are breaking the mold, or when you're looking to break the mold, and you have those who are strong, set in their way philanthropists, right? Getting people to understand that this can work, that, to allow people to think out of the box, to test, to not be afraid to fail, and to understand that not starting is probably the worst thing you can do, as opposed to taking that risk and trying something new, because we can't continue to do the same thing and expect different outcomes.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Aline, please. And then I move on to Vincent. Vincent, you've been working with quite a lot of grantees across East Africa. Can you help us explain from your experience, how do we strengthen the relationship between public and private entities when it comes to partnership collaboration, looking at social enterprise as the basis for this conversation?
Like I mentioned at the beginning, there is like a really urgent need for a mindset shift in terms of looking at the different sectors as isolated silos. And I always refer to this this book by Gillian Tett, where she talks about silos, and she makes reference of the financial crisis a couple of years back, and how everyone was doing what they were supposed to do and doing it perfectly, but the problem was that there was no conversation between different departments, between different sectors. So for collaboration, what I've learned, what I've seen, and this is from this incredible social entrepreneurs across the continent, across the globe that Ashoka has as Ashoka Fellows, is that one, you get into this point of understanding the root cause of a problem. What is it that you want to address? And as you think about addressing, let's say it's something in education, let's say we want to transform growing up and learning experience for young people across Africa, so that then we can have more innovators or more change makers, so that we can outmatch challenges with solutions. It will not only take the education ministry, for instance, or education players. It will take, there's a role for parents to play, there's a role for peers to play, or youth serving organizations to play. So I think to get to this like almost perfect tangle between social entrepreneurs or NGOs or partners, like really just collaboration is to understand the root cause of the challenge that is being addressed and who is involved in that system, right? Then secondly, of course, is to co-create the end game. What's the end game? What is it that we want to see at the end of it? So co-creating that vision, Because when that vision is not co-created, when that end game is not bought in by everyone, it will again lead us back to silos where everyone is doing what they want to do, to get like their perfect result, but not really synchronize around a shared vision. The other thing also is just to understand the strengths that other sectors also bring into this kind of space. And it's not only leveraging the strengths, it's also to achieve impact. It's also leveraging the strengths and addressing the gaps so that then the solutions can be accelerated. And also, the impact can be transferred to other sectors. And the learnings, and I know you mentioned about, collaboration also being an opportunity for learning, how the learning and knowledge, can be transferred to other sectors. So I think it's more on developing an understanding of what is exactly the root cause of the challenge that is being addressed. Getting to a point of discussing and agreeing on what is the shared vision, what is that end game that we really want to see, and also realizing the strengths that other sectors also bring on board or other players that you want to engage, and what these strengths translate into. So this strength will not just translate into we're able to achieve our end game, but also we're able to accelerate on that solution and potentially transfer impact to other places.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for Vincent. Susan, can you help us sort of explain how best to handle collaboration tensions, right? Aline is here laughing at you on that because we know, right, out of collaboration, there are always some level of tension. I'm meeting you for the first time. You're telling me I need to do this for me to move forward. I don't want you to, mess up my operational flow. And at the same time, you want me to go along with your system. There was something, someone said something around vision alignment, and that's Vincent. Vincent said something about co-creation, co-creating vision amongst partners. So vision alignment. So how do you think, Susan, we can manage collaboration tensions?
You gave me the hard question, but I think there are a couple of ways. One is to really get clear on what the shared vision is and what that common agenda is. I think sometimes there's just an assumption of, oh, we care about poverty, or we care about SDG 6, or we care about hunger. But to get real clarity on what the shared vision is, and sometimes just even a visioning experience or exercise can help. What does it look like when we succeed? And getting people in the same room, ideally face-to-face in person over some snacks and a meal, if you can, and really vision, what does this look like when we succeed? And that's where you'll find, oh, wait a minute, we weren't on the same page. So getting very clear on the shared vision. And then there's things beyond that. How are we going to get there? It doesn't have to be the same exact way. We can have different approaches as long as we are working towards this shared vision. And there are some principles of collective impact that I think are useful, that were identified by Kanya and Kramer in 2011. And some of you have probably heard of these, but it's having a common agenda. It's having shared measurement systems, which again is kind of technical, but are we measuring things at least in some similar way to get towards that shared vision? Mutually reinforcing activities. I really like this one. It doesn't mean you have to do things the same way or even in the same place, but that they are not conflicting with each other. For example, if you're trying to get to SDG 6, which is safely managed water, if some people are selling water services and setting up water services, and some people are giving away free water, that's going to cause a problem. So you'd want to think about, how do you do that? Do you target subsidies and so on and so on? Continuous communication is another one. Don't just wait for the annual meeting. Have touch points throughout, and then having somebody who is sort of a neutral facilitator or a backbone support organization, a neutral person who isn't necessarily related or staff of one of the collaborating organizations, can help to kind of, hey, let's get people together. I feel like there's some tension here. Let's talk through this. And sometimes that can help as well. I don't know if I've solved the problem, but those are some ideas.
Well, you see, it wasn't that hard, Susan. You made it simple for all of us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A round of applause for Susan, please. Because, I mean, there are a couple of collaborative efforts that, you know, working with local partners sometimes generates, right? Even in terms of, even with foreign partners. Many times often, if you see local partners run for 2 years together, you don't want to know the level of fights and the stabs and the killings and the resurrections that has happened, you know, somewhere in the background. And so it was quite important for us to always put into perspective, you know, the tensions that come alongside collaborations, right? Either by local or either by foreign. You know, being able to find that mix to always have conversations, you know, linking and learning consistently, you know, around all the different kind of players that you're working with. Which brings me to our third round, and which is going to be the final round in this conversation. And this is where the one-liners come in, right? So again, Aline, you're here with me. So if you have a chance to solve a collaboration problem, one collaboration problem, you're not Jesus Christ, you can't solve everything, right? One, what would that be? And how do you think it should be done? Maybe like in 30 seconds. Reporting?
No, before you even get to reporting, if we're talking about collaboration across industries, is learning to understand the other industry's language. It's very important because M&E does not resonate in the private sector, but the private sector needs data to report back on the impact that their investment has had in the philanthropy space. So what is it, what language can both sectors fall on that will provide the measurement on the impact that funding has had, that the programs have had, and that collaboration has had. So before we go into reporting, before we go into cross-sector collaboration, is understanding that there is a language that is going to be a barrier between sectors, and we have to be ready and open to unlearn and relearn to be able to move forward.
Thank you so much. Unlearn to relearn. A round of applause for Aline. That was great. Unlearn to relearn. Vincent, again, so Aline has chosen language alignment, right? Most times, you know, we have Klingons on one side, we have Earthlings on the other side, and, you know, we're not sure whether we should live well and prosper or, you know, whether we should continuously report. So Vincent, can you help me with your one solution to a one problem that you think you can solve when it comes to improving collaboration among partners?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, you know, just get it and, you know, everyone to understand what change making is all about. So getting change makers in the room. Like I said, I mean, to really get to a point where we get it right with sustainability, thinking about SDGs and the likes, it requires a change of mindset, right? And, you know, the inventiveness, the innovation, and above all this, like change makers, people who are not only inspired by the potential of sustainability, but who are also willing to implement change at all levels, you know, of this, you know, global society. So we need that. So for me, I think I'll be zeroing in on working on how do we get this mindset shift, and also how do we ensure that more people, especially the younger generation, is acquiring new competencies, you know, the ability to bring about collective change and on a broad scale. So if there's a way to get that to happen, probably through, again, just redefining what success should look like when it comes to partnerships and collaboration, that'll be something that I'll be happy to, you know, jump in and provide, you know, support on.
All right, thank you very much, Vincent. A round of applause for Vincent. And I like the way Vincent stuck to almost one point that he needs to narrow down, and which is on mindset. There's a need for us to really, you know, again, unlearn to relearn, right? So you don't take the same baggages you've moved from this industry to the next industry, or from this level to the next level. So mindset change, mindset development has been, you know, is one angle that Vincent would like to change. And now, Susan, over to you. What do you think is your one problem to one question, or one challenge?
I'm going to build on what the previous panelists just said, and I'll boil it down to my one-liner is you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you should do more listening than talking. Understand where they're coming from and quit trying to get everybody on board with your approach all the time. And maybe I'll leave it there. And then if I can have one other thing, if we want collaboration amongst the doers, philanthropy really needs to think about flexible, multi-year, general operating funds to local leaders. That's where the innovation comes from. That's where the learning comes from. That's where the space for collaboration comes from.
Thank you very much, Susan. Thank you for bringing up that point. There's always that need to sort of understand the flexibility of continuity. Again, many times we've all found out that what impact means to a funder and to an implementer sometimes is usually different. And so being able to allow the fund to be flexible and as well meet up to some certain new gaps that you might find at the beginning of every project. Now you do a first mapping, it looks very cool. And 3 weeks into the program, something else happened. It could be a policy, it could be a law, it could just be someone is angry somewhere on the road to Kaduna, and then all of a sudden, nothing else is happening again. So we always have to find a way to, as funders, to always be a bit flexible when it comes to engagement. So we've come to the end of our conversations today. A round of applause for all of our panelists. We have Aline Vare from PIN. We have Susan from Equitable Philanthropy as an advisor. And also we have Vincent from Ashoka. And in the course of this conversation, we've had, to talk about, mindset change, collaboration, listening, understanding each other, which again, all of our speakers think that these things are a lot more important than all the technical, talks around reporting, M&E, and trying to deliver a fantastic project. We hope that with these few words of ours, we've been able to convince you and not to confuse you on the possibilities around collaboration. Thank you very much. And thank you again to all our panelists.
Thank you so much to all our panelists for an insightful conversation. I think we had a great time with all the things we learned. There's something that I will take home today, and that's something Aline Vare said. She said we have to unlearn to relearn. And I think we can carry that into different sectors of our lives. So could we please put our hands together for them once again? Great. All right, so you will see a survey pop up on the screen in a moment. Please take a few seconds to respond to the quick questions. As you complete the survey, we would like to share an important announcement. ACT Foundation's 2025 grant application opened on October 15th. If you are a change maker seeking funding for impactful solutions in your community, be sure to follow us on social media and visit our website for detailed application guidelines. Okay. So before we go to the next item on the agenda, let's watch a brief video about ACT Foundation's Changemakers Innovation Challenge to give you a clear picture of what it's all about and the powerful impact it's had over the past year. Are we ready to roll the clip?
A rigorous and thorough review process. We are excited to present to you our 10 finalists who are leveraging technology and digital tools to drive social change in their communities. Solar System Nigeria was the winner of the Changemakers Innovation Award 2023 edition. Through this award, we're able to recruit, train, and support 50 women in 10 communities across Taraba, Benue, and Nasarawa states. The women entrepreneurs we recruited through their businesses have enabled energy access to more than 8,000 beneficiaries, and this impact is amazing because what this means is more than 8,000 persons across this state now have access to clean and affordable energy. In Malawi, Cubics Robotics trained 80 beneficiaries, including 30 women and 50 students, converting plastic waste into educational radio kits using 3D printing technology. Goal 3 deployed the Impala patient monitoring system in Yamata, Rwanda, training over a dozen nurses and doctors, and currently monitoring over 20 patients in a bid to improve neonatal care. And through our partnership with Ishq Tolerance, we provided institutional support to Ecobata Company.
My name is Tusomo Tezi Kantema from Malawi. I am a co-founder of Cubics Robotics. So Cubics Robotics is the digital manufacturing startup in Malawi. We are developing 3D printers, CNC machines, and razor cutters. With the ACT Foundation, we had an amazing project called 3D Print Your Plastic Waste. In plastic waste, we are working with the women from Kacheri and Imo River, who are our goods collectors. So they collect plastic waste bring it into our facility. In our facility, we process this plastic waste into 3D printing filaments made with new FM radios. Our relationship with ACT Foundation has been truly amazing, and it has been an interesting journey. ACT Foundation has supported us with the financial and most importantly with the education. We say thank you, ACT Foundation. Thank you, the ACT Foundation team. Thank you, the team at Verati. Your support has been truly amazing.
Together with the ACT Foundation, we did a project where we implemented our Impala system, a smart monitoring system for neonates and children to help healthcare workers make better decisions on when and how to treat their patients. And together with this implementation, we also did an assessment in the hospital on the situation of the hospital. We trained all of the healthcare workers both on emergency and critical care preparedness, on the Impala system, and we installed and implemented these systems. And we're very grateful for the ACT Foundation for enabling us to execute this project.
We are not relenting as we commit to impacting the continent one community at a time.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to one of the highlights of today's event, the 2024 Changemakers Innovation Challenge. As we celebrate the 6th edition of the Changemakers Innovation Challenge, we reflect on how the rapid advancement of technology within the social sector has inspired ACT Foundation to create this annual competition. It's open to African nonprofits and social enterprises. The challenge aims to recognize and support those leveraging technological and digital tools to drive meaningful social change. This year,
we are excited to share that we received over 300 applications from diverse organizations across Africa. And I would like to say thank you to our judges, Dr. Fejiro Chinyenwoko, the Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria Solidarity Support Fund. Round of applause for him. Bukola Thomas, the Executive Head, Old Mutual. A round of applause. Patrick Karanja, Senior Manager, Tech and Digital Transformation. A round of applause. Joshua Adedeji, Country Lead, KTN Innovate UK. A round of applause. And Jude Feromi Adejuwon, Practice Lead, HEI Innovation Co-Creation Hub. A round of applause. We sincerely appreciate your support. We have accomplished significant milestones through the CIC initiative in the last 5 years. So now we will be inviting our partners onto the stage shortly to support us in awarding the top 3 winners. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to announce the winners of the 2024 Changemakers Innovation Challenge. But before that, I shall highlight the top 10 finalists in no particular order, which we announced earlier this month. Number 1, Social Care Nigeria, Devatop Center for Africa Development Nigeria, Vula South Africa, Urungano Initiative Rwanda, Better Life Health Nigeria, Headfort Foundation for Justice Nigeria, Green Eden Farms Limited Nigeria, One Voice Initiative for Women and Children Emancipation Nigeria, Women's Rights and Health Project Nigeria, and Munakialo Agrofresh Uganda. A round of applause. We congratulate all 10 organizations, some of whom are here in person today, while others are joining us online. Please give a round of applause to these businesses once again for the impact they have accomplished through technology within their communities. Great. Selected finalists will receive technical support from our partners, Veraki and Lagos Business School, for the 2024 Changemakers Innovation Challenge. We would like to specially appreciate these partners. Thank you very much to our partners who will be supporting the selected finalists. All right, so we have now reached the announcement of the 3 winners of this year's Changemakers Innovation Challenge. ACT Foundation will provide funding for these 3 winners to support the achievement of their developmental goals. Please, a round of applause for them. Okay, so the second runner-up is Green Eden Farms from Nigeria. Congratulations. All right, could they please come on stage so we can take a picture? Okay, so the first runner-up is Vula Mobile from South Africa. They're online. Congratulations, Vula Mobile. Now, the winner of the 2024 Changemakers Innovation Challenge is, thank you so much for the drum roll, Better Life Health from Nigeria. Please join us on stage. Congratulations, Better Life Health. Thank you. And please give a round of applause to Mr. Tochukwu Ezioku, the Regional Director, Africa Venture Philanthropy Alliance, and Temitope Okunu, the CEO of FABE International, and Osai Alile and Mr. Amechi Okobi for joining us on stage to give. Thank you so much for joining us on stage to present the awards to the winners. Thank you so much. All right, I would like to ask, have you tuned into ACT Pod? It's powered by the ACT Foundation, and this dynamic podcast highlights the inspiring work of change makers making a global impact. Let's take a moment to watch this video.
From the slums.
The first thing I say when I'm abroad is we're givers in Africa, because we don't document our giving, others do it better than we do. So we always have to step forward and be in front of that narrative.
I think it's important for us to recognize that this narrative about Africa needing to be helped, I think, also is an old and tired narrative. But the goal is never going to be that the World Bank or the IMF or the European Reconstruction Bank are going to help us sort ourselves out. We need to do that.
People don't necessarily care about the technicalities of what you're doing. What they care about is the story. And the story is what helps them connect to the realities of the children. And you must be careful to not do it in a way that demeans the people you're advocating for.
When I actually started advocating for climate change, even my friends were like, what's it with climate? People really believe that a young person can do much change.
My journey started when I was a student myself. I was invited, and my entire perception changed.
So when we started, we were working with public schools. What we used to do is go into public schools, ask them, what educational resources do you need, and then provide those resources. So we provided over 1,000 educational materials, over 200 textbooks, installed whiteboards, did a whole lot of projects, with those schools.
Could we have a round of applause? That was amazing. And you can also catch the episodes on YouTube and other podcast platforms. All right. So let me tell you about the masterclass sessions. The masterclass sessions are a major feature of this year's Breakfast Dialogue. We will have 2 practical and interactive sessions that take a deeper dive into the event's theme, tackling specific issues within the development space with seasoned experts. The first masterclass is titled Connect, Collaborate, Create, your masterclass on collaboration. The facilitator will be Dr. Nneka Okekearu. She is the director of the Enterprise Development Center at Lagos Business School's Pan-Atlantic University. Thank you so much for that. Please, a round of applause again. And the second masterclass is titled From Red to Green, Mastering Financial Sustainability Strategies. The facilitator will be Dr. Francis Okoye, faculty member of the Lagos Business School. Please, a round of applause. I would like to let you know that Masterclass 1 holds in this hall, while Masterclass 2 will hold at the other wing. Participants will be directed to the other classroom. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I will now kindly ask the CEO of ACT Foundation, Ms. Osai Alile, to return to the stage to share a few words with us.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining us. As we say, we are only here for 2 hours and we have kept our promise. In the last 8 years, we've started at 10 and ended at 12 before we move over to the master classes, and we continue to do so. I wanted to thank my board members, of course, my chair, Mr. Tunde Folawiyo, who is not here, but always around, sending messages all the time, and of course, Mr. Okobi, Mr. Mashaye, and Mrs. Akeredolu. Our keynote speaker, my darling, my dear friend. Let me not use the word darling since we're on, this is a business meeting. My dear friend, Ricardo, and of course, all the distinguished speakers and our special guests and partners. Over the last 7 years, ACT Foundation was born with a mission to empower African communities. And so since 2017, we've held these dialogues. We actually started, so this is our 7th year, but our 8th dialogue, because we started it just when we were about to launch, because I just felt that there was something that we needed to do that will put a stamp on the fact that Aspire Coronation Trust is here to stay. And this is one of the things. Our conversations from here have led to many adoptions. We've worked with so many people, over 5,000 social and private leaders. And of course, as you heard before, we're now in 12 African countries, 3 million direct beneficiaries, 1,200 communities doing our work. And we're very honored that we have this privilege to be able to change the course of Africa. I celebrate all the winners today from the Changemakers Innovation Challenge. Yes, sometimes from 300, we move to 10, then we move to 3, but we know that there are other opportunities out there that I know every one of them will be able to find. And going through the process, you also learn a few things. Very excited about Deal Room. Tomorrow is our first one. We're looking forward to making a lot of mistakes, learning from it, and moving to the next level, because we know that opportunities are not only for grants. There's so many other things our people, social entrepreneurs, can learn from. So it's really a learning journey for us. And that's one of the things about ACT Foundation. It's a learning journey. And we are looking forward to working with our collaborators. And that's what we've been talking about today, collaboration, partnerships, and such like. To our valued funders, Access Bank, Access Holding, we say thank you again and again. I must state here what Amechi had said earlier. Really remembering Mr. Herbert Wigwe, who has stood with us over the last 7 years, and not only 7 years for me personally, but has been a part of my life since I was maybe 21, because when I worked in GT Bank. So we miss him greatly, but we also honor his legacy. Want to thank Aliko Dangote Foundation, MedPlus, Nigerian Philanthropy Office, which we've just signed an MOU with, Arami, Essential, Zaron, and everyone, of course, Lagos Business School, Sustainability Center, Veraki, and African Venture Philanthropy. We're really excited about the way we are seeing how we're progressing and our journey in the next few years. Looking forward to it and hoping that every one of you will work with us through this journey. I thank God and thank my staff all my colleagues that, oh gosh, if you know what happened yesterday. Well, nobody ever knows what's happening at the back end of things. But I want to thank every one of them. They've been so supportive, always there. Old and new. We have some old members of staff that always just come in just to show their support through the years. And I tell people that when you walk through the ACT doors, you remain family forever. And we continue to see so. Our mission is to empower change makers in Africa. And we know it's a daunting task, but I feel that it's something that every year I see the progress. We know that the challenges are a lot, but regardless of that, there's a continuous effort required to commit to this. And I'm hoping that every one of us will bring everything that we have to the table so that we can use the value that we are creating to change the way we see things. It's not easy, as say Nigerians sometimes, and Africa is tough, but we therefore welcome strategic partnerships, and together we can achieve greater impacts. I really want to ask us to not lose hope. And I'm actually talking to myself. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming because you continue to do this work and then you see that sometimes you don't see the changes. But I'm asking Osai and the rest of us not to lose hope, and that even as we see one thing being changed, we say, okay, we're grateful for this one, then we move to the second one and we move to the third one. And as we continue that journey, I believe and I feel and I know for a certain that the impact we're looking for will be had. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you so much to the CEO for those remarkable words. It's been an amazing time here at the 8th Dialogue. Now it's time for our masterclass sessions. So I would like to encourage online participants to visit the exhibition booth after the masterclass session to see the great work of the exhibitors. And the exhibitors include OSC Creative and Research Foundation. Could they please have a round of applause? Pink Africa Foundation, a round of applause. Oncopadi, a round of applause for them. Youth Development and Empowerment Initiative, a round of applause. And I Care Aid, a round of applause. Participants, please proceed to your designated masterclass rooms for an incredible learning experience. If you have any questions, please reach out to any of the staff or ushers in the hall. Let's dive in. All right. Okay, all right. So, like I said, today is World Sight Day. Yes. So, give me one moment. There's one of our partners here today, Vision Sight. Vision Spring. My apologies. Okay. So, Vision Spring will be providing free eye screening services to you. So please take advantage of this outside. Thank you very much. Okay, all right. Okay. So I would also like to mention that the first masterclass titled Connect, Collaborate, Create, your masterclass on collaboration will be led by our facilitator, Dr. Neka Okekiaru. So if you would like to attend this masterclass, please stay in this room. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, and the second masterclass, which will take place in the other wing, is titled From Red to Green, Mastering Financial Sustainability Strategies. The facilitator will be Dr. Francis Okoye, faculty member, Lagos Business School.
we have some records of different projects, we call it change project that the students initiate across different schools. We have some schools that, as you mentioned, they did road bumps, some other schools did this zebra crossing, some other schools designed signposts, labeling for them.
We can't achieve as much success without the mentors who have been trained to work directly, with the students.
I'm actually mentoring a group of 30 students at Government Technical College, Main Avenue, Calabar. It's been an amazing journey, having to come here every Wednesday to mentor these young students that we are grooming and empowering them to become young leaders in the future. This program as a mentor has been so helpful to me also because most of the topics that are inside the manual are things, of course, before now I'm not aware of. But through this program, I've been able to learn also as a mentor.
My experience as a mentor has been surreal. I have never imagined that I was going to be this valuable. It's like I've been reliving my childhood in the children.
I've learned quite a lot from the Bridge Foundation. It has taught me how to be a leader and how to groom myself.
I want to really appreciate the Bridge Foundation. I, as a mentee of this wonderful organization, I have been in a lot over the time. I have been able to develop some certain skills I did not know, and it has been able to put me on a track of leadership.
The Bridge Foundation really helped me in so many ways. First of all, to improve my confidence.
Ever since joining the Bridge, there have been a lot of development on him. What he learned from the Bridge, he transferred it into his studies in the secondary school, and his performances, they are going to speak for him.
Basically, I got into the mentoring program 2020. The Bridge came to my school and we had a session there. They taught me so much. There I learned self-esteem, self-relevance. I learned knowing yourself. I learned a whole lot. I have improved my ability to speak and address the public. And also academically, I put in much more effort so I can become better.
The funding from Arc Foundation actually means a lot to us. This foundation has been applied right from when an Arc Foundation started the Ghana set. Yes, and the first successful one for us was the 2022 Ghana set.
My name is Shivabatunde Adewale, TDA member from Odogbo Local Government.
This program helps us in our community, especially on domestic violence.
We in 2017 decided that we were going to train these traditional birth attendants on cases of gender-based violence. And with the ACT Foundation sponsorship, we started with 500 traditional birth attendants, and it was transformative.
The Gatekeepers project is a project that seeks to provide adequate training for traditional birth attendants. We see this as a driver for impact and for change, and henceforth our decision to support and work with the world.
Because I have a lot of achievements concerning this program we don't know before, and we bring it back to the people in our community.
This program has opened my eyes to a lot of things. The rapists also, they have known that this thing is not good. They are doing what is wrong under the law. And those teaching, they have known that they have to speak up. What is wrong is wrong.
In the course of the program, I remember when we started at first, it was a bit of a challenge. The first hurdle was to ensure that we had a sexual assault referral center. And then we had a wonderful relationship. We welcomed with open arms at the Sexual Assault Referral Center in Olabisi and Obanjo University Teaching Hospital. The milestones that we've achieved include the fact that with 2,200 birth attendants was one. Two, there have been increased referrals to the Sexual Assault Referral Center in Olabisi and Obanjo University Teaching Hospital. Over 5,000 persons have been reached by these birth attendants, and that the number of cases that have been reported is over 100.
We are very excited that we've been able to train 3,000 traditional birth attendants. We've also advocated to educate, to sensitize, and also to report cases of GBV in over 20 communities. The successes we've recorded has been amazing.
So I don't want this program to end, but I give kudos to them. They did a lot in our community.
They should be